Hello, loves. Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to talk to you about something that in America that I feel our society kind of sets us up for failure on. Only because I guess I wouldn't say it's in America. It's kind of across the world where um, women are made to feel bad about, being sexual creatures. Um, and I don't want to discount the men in the room just because guys tend to be very promiscuous, only because, in my opinion, they are told that that's what boys do and that it's acceptable, um, even though it's honestly very harmful. Because when you connect with someone, you're tapping into their energy field. And the more people you connect with, the more energies get attached to you. So, in the book, The Divine Matrix by Greg Braden, there have literally been studies done that show that DNA sticks to people and it lingers on the body. And even if it's like they've tested atoms and they've tested DNA to see how it reacts in one area and then how it reacts across, the country. And if they put the effect on the DNA in one place, the DNA in the other part of the country responds to the stimuli because everything is connected. You can't ever separate anything. And so if people leave their DNA on you, it's also a part of their energetic vibration. And so the more DNA we collect, the more of an effect it has on us. So with that being said, it needs to be cleansed. So a great way to do this is to take a glass of water and go out in your yard or on grass or somewhere where you can connect to nature and also pour the water out. What you do is you say, I release any energy or power that I have taken from anyone else at any point in time in this life or any other. I place it into this glass and I release it back into the earth. And feel this. Feel yourself connecting to the glass and to the water. Imagine that all of these energies are coming out into this glass of water and then dump the water into the earth. Then put more water back into the glass, hold it in your hands, and say, whatever energy or power I have given away to anyone else, I now receive it back with love. And imagine all of this light energy that is yours coming in from anywhere around the globe, wherever you have left your energy, and take it back and then drink the water. Okay, now men don't tend to hold on to the promiscuity and the baggage that comes with it because our society, like I said, tells them that that's just what boys do, when it's no big deal or whatever. So this video is basically going to be geared to my female audience. So if your past plagues you, this is for you. If you have a lot of guilt and shame that surrounds this topic, and anytime those memories come into your mind, you feel deep guilt and shame, this message is for you. Guilt and shame are supposed to be catalysts for change. They're not meant to be things that bring us down to the pits of our soul and create unwellness in the body, because it's a poison. And, the more we dislike our guilt and shame, the more we allow it to make us feel less than, the more it poisons us. We all have to understand why we do the actions we do. And promiscuity typically tends from father wounds. So if you had a father who was present but not active in your life, who didn't really know how to show emotion or teach you, things about yourself, or help build up your self-esteem, make and help you see that you are worthy, you probably grew up feeling very unworthy, which is a first and second chakra issue. So if your chakras were to be tested, those would probably be closed, and you may even experience hip pain, knee pain, foot pain. You may have rolled your ankles a lot, stubbed your toes a lot. You may have pelvic instability. You may have your pelvic floor may be, and it's what the interesting thing about it is that your pelvic floor isn't weak. It's just so tense and tight that it can't contract and relax the way that it needs to, and it allows your pelvic floor to drop. So if you have had a prolapse, if you have a cystocele or a rectocele, this actually could be because of an overactive pelvic floor rather than a weak one. So if you've ever gone to physical therapy to have pelvic floor retraining and it actually doesn't help, that may be why. Because you're trying to tighten something that's already crazy tight. Okay. So then also into your sacral chakra, you may have a lot of low back pain. You may have felt as a child that you couldn't express yourself, that your feelings didn't matter, or that if you expressed yourself, your needs may not be met. So then what happens is we go out looking for that worthiness in all the wrong places. And then most times we can grow out of it because we're like, I'm freaking tired of this, like I'm tired of feeling like this, because it's like your ego says, oh, do this thing because then you'll feel worthy. And then when you do it, it beats you up because you did it, and then you recognize that it's a vicious cycle, and then we get tired of it. Sometimes we don't listen and we don't heal it, and we continue down that path. So if you have been able to get off of that vicious cycle and have been able to now learn that you need to grow your love for yourself, then you're even closer to being able to release all of this. If you haven't gotten there yet and you're still searching for ways to make yourself feel worthy, there's hope. There's light at the end of the tunnel. You can absolutely, and even if you're in relationships where you're with a partner who makes you feel unworthy, or that they're not good enough, but you stay because you're like, well, they're all I have, or my worth, because you tie your worthiness into someone else, thinking that your worth could ever come from anything external, and it can't. Okay, so if you're there, then recognizing that you haven't always felt loved in your life the way you should have felt loved is important. And then when you can go back, usually to childhood, starting with inner child work, go back in a meditative state, go back to the memories that you had of childhood and connect with that little girl or little boy, depending on if you have guilt surrounding this or not. Connect with your inner child, and then you're going to want to reparent yourself. So if there were instances where you felt like your parent didn't respond to you in a way that you needed to be responded to, if they didn't show you the response that you were looking for, give yourself that response. I'm telling you, it works. Just try it, because you're holding on to that memory, And then two, forgiveness is a huge thing. So as a parent, if you're a parent now, what's good to recognize is that you are doing the very best that you can. You are doing your absolute best that you can with the tools that you have. And your parents were too. And so forgiving them for not being the parents that you needed them to be is key. and then to try to put them in the light of the parents that you want them to be. Not only will that change how the past affects you, but it will also change how they are now in your relationship with them. What you see is what you project. So whatever you feel on the inside, whatever you're sensing, is going to be what you receive back. Okay. So if you can see them in a different light, they will be that for you, which I know kind of sounds like, what? I can't affect anyone else. That's just who they are. Is it? Or are they showing you exactly what you think about them? Do you pull them in a noble, respectful light? Do you hold them in a place of you're not good enough, or seeing all of their faults instead of seeing the things that they do well? Are they better parents than their parent? You got to think about that too. Like, they're doing the best they can with what they have. But what if they have was crap? What if they were abused? What if their parents talked down to them? What if they weren't around? There's just so much to take into consideration. And a lot of times we're casting a lot of judgment, and that's not really our place. Our place is to see who you want them to be, because that helps them hold the light. If they can't see it themselves, you hold the light so that they can rise to your expectation. Okay, next, once you've gone in and kind of cleared out the blame, then it's time to look at our guilt and our shame. You see what I did there? All right, so looking at guilt and shame. At first, it's going to feel like, I don't know how to let this go. I don't feel worthy of forgiveness. And it's going to be a very strong pull, only because if you've been dealing with this for a long time, it's hard to just make the flip. So if you do experience that, then keep going. And all you have to say is, I don't know how to forgive myself, but I want to learn how. And then ask your shame and guilt what it is that it really wants you to know, because it's a messenger. And then if you can see your shame and guilt, imagine what your shame looks like, coming like your physical features, and how that would be personified inside of your body. Just it takes time to just connect with yourself, and then feel the feeling of the shame, and then imagine what that person looks like. Meek, embarrassed, sullen, withdrawn, and then give her a hug. This is shadow work. Your shame and your guilt are a part of you, and they are messengers trying to help you on your spiritual journey. It's not meant to be like, it's not meant to create something that's debilitating. It's not meant to be cast away, forgotten, swept under the rug. It's a messenger, and it'll keep calling your name until you decide to give it its proper acknowledgement. So hug that personified version of you, your shame and your guilt. You can hug them both, in your mind. And say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I've created you to be a monster or my enemy. And just allow that healing to begin. Like I said, it may be challenging at first, but it's absolutely possible, and the healing does come. What I like to say about it, like your promiscuous times were a time where you had less love for yourself, and now you have more love for yourself. So go back and love the self that couldn't love themselves enough. You know, love yourself, love every part of you, love your past, love your parents, love every experience you've ever had, because it was just a catalyst to help you get to who you can be now. And all of your experiences help you to be humble and to connect with people on a deeper level that you may not have been able to had you never gone through that. You know, if you can recognize in yourself that you need forgiveness, that you have had trials and tribulations, that you may not have always acted as your highest self, then you can forgive others who haven't and help them hold the light so that they can forgive themselves. So, you have always been worthy. You're like $100 bill that like you never get completely torn or broken like that. Your edges may be frayed. You may have like a piece missing or something, you know, but guess what? That $100 still spins. It still holds all of its worth, and so do you. And this society doesn't exactly help with that feeling, because it tells us that, you know, all of these words, you know, all the words, okay, that this society will use to portray a woman in that light. Um, but F that, and F what other people think, because you are worthy and you always have been. And remind yourself of that every day. You know, stand in that mirror, look at yourself and say, I don't know how to love you, but I want to learn how. And eventually you'll get to that point. And then you'll get to the point of, girl, you are worthy and you are loved, unconditionally loved. And you've always had that. So I hope that this video can help someone. It's kind of been calling my name for a while. So hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, share this to someone who may need to hear it. And let me know in the comments what you think, and let me know if there's anything else that you want me to talk about, something that's been plaguing you for a while and that you just need a little clarity on, okay? I promise there isn't anything I haven't heard, okay? I have lived a very colorful life, and I'm a nurse, so I deal with a large patient population, and I've heard it, seen it, you know, experienced it. So I love you all so much. You guys mean the world to me, and I'm so thankful that you're allowing me to share this healing journey, you know, to greater consciousness with you. And until next time, love and light.